Alright, Subchapter 2, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, Subchapter 2, 71E. 71E21, Scope. The subchapter prescribes the rule of the department applicable to the owners and operatives of the major facilities storing, transferring the process of the handling or using hazardous substances. The following shall govern the equipment and procedures utilized of the major facilities of storage. Above ground storage tanks shall be the following: above ground storage tanks installation to provide with a secondary containment with a diversion system designed and built and pursuant with the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E26. Base underlying storage tanks shall be made with the truth of the material of the impermeable, the passage of the chemical attack of the storage substance over the condition of the storage prevailing within the tank. Existing storage tanks shall be exempt with the requirements of the until such a time shall be made with substantial reconstruction replacement at the bottom of the be replaced with the unit of the department no orders for the storage of the tank for the removal of the truth of the likelihood of the discharge before such a tank is returned to service. It must meet with the requirements. Pipes leading to and from the above ground storage tanks with an enter tank of the liquid level shall be equipped with the valve that can be removably activated or readily accessible to prevent the leak of the discharge was sufficiently close to the tank that can prevent the content of the tank escaping outside of the secondary containment area. Event of the pipe of the failure outside of the contaminator, such that the pipe shall be penetrated with the passive through any of the walls, dikes, and berms of the secondary containment unless the permeability and integrity of the secondary containment is not impaired. Above ground storage tanks shall undergo integrity testing in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E216. Underground storage tanks shall meet with the requirement of the New Jersey Administrative Code 714B. In the storage tanks serve the internal heating coils, such coil of the pipes leading to and from the imprudence of the which for the content that may be designed so that the leak is passing with the tank. The heating coils shall be captured for the containment with the secondary containment of the wastewater treatment system. Every above ground storage tank, except for the providing E below, shall have the high liquid level alarm and visual alarm to activate with a predetermined level of design to alert the personnel directly responsible for the filling and operating with a high liquid level of conditions. One of the following: a high liquid level of pump cutoff device level the detector separated with a high liquid level the detector sign with a stop flow with a predetermined level. The direct communication between the tank gauge of the pumping station with the direct line with the telephone and radio communication. Fast responser system determining the liquid levels with the result of the rapid shutdown of the pumping. Owners and operators above ground storage tank 2,000 gallons or less may with the requirements of D with above with the having such as tanks attended at all times during the filling procedures. Storage tank overfill lines, vent lines. Storage tanks will overflow the lines wherever they exist and protect with the secondary containment directed with the other tanks for the other appropriate holding areas. Mobile and portable storage tanks shall be positioned located with the protected with the secondary containment of diversion structures designed pursuant to the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E26, and such storage tanks are subsequent to requirements New Jersey Administrative Code 701E29 with a tote drum bag or other small container storage areas shall be equipped with secondary containment diversion system designed and pursuant to the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E26. 71E23, tanker car and truck loading and unloading areas. All tanker car and truck loading and unloading areas are employed in loading and unloading hazardous substances shall be equipped with a secondary containment of the diversion system designed and pursuant to the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E26. All tanker car and tank truck loading and unloading operations shall be conducted in accordance with standard operating procedure prepared to maintain in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E214. Prior to filling any of the tank of the car or the tank truck with the lowermost drain, all outlets shall be the vehicle shall be examined and inspection of they are closed. Per the department of any of the tank car and tank truck, the lowermost drain and all outlets shall be the vehicle shall be closely examined. The leakage if necessary for the tighten, adjusted and repaired, replaced to prevent liquid leakage during transit. All manifolds and tanker cars and tanker trucks shall be the flange, capped, or valve secured prior to leaving loading and unloading areas. The system to prevent tanker car and tank truck with a departure having before the complete disconnecting the loading and unloading shall be utilized with loading and unloading areas. Tanker cars in process of being loading and unloading shall be detained with a reasonable interval during the procedure shall be detained with during the topping off. Tank trucks shall be in process of being loading and unloading shall be detained with at all times during the procedure. Tank car and tank truck is attended with an employee with the facility within with a designated with the facility within 100 feet of the tanker car and tanker truck has an unobstructed view of the tanker car and tanker truck. 71E24 in-facility pipes and hazard substances. Each of the in-facility pipe and the major component in facility containing with the hazard substances shall be sufficiently marked with lettering, coloring, banning, coloring, coding, enabling facility personnel to identify any substance leak of the discharge of the facility pipe. The new buried pipeline installation shall have products sensitive to leak detection devices for the device of the state of art. There shall be double walled and secondary containment division with a system designed to pursue the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E26. Existing buried pipes shall be either equipped with a product sensitive to leak detection device or for the device or state-of-the-art technology, stay over the technology doesn't exist, and spec with the prepared, maintained with the core of the API 570, incorporated here in the reference some of the other individual standard applicable to department instruction. Buried pipe and exposed with any reason for the owner of the operator shall ensure that carefully examine the deterioration found with the deterioration shall be repaired with the replaced existing pipe shall be require substantial reconstruction replacement shall be upgraded with the standard applicable to the new buried pipe and the pipe shall be recapped with black blank flange marked its origin, physically remove the pipe support with the design to minimize the abrasion of the corrosion, allow for the expansion for the contraction, and facility pipes are elevated with the car floor waste gate check-in procedures, warning sign with the other means should be minimized with the chance of the vehicle or collision with the pipes. 712825, prepare, process the area with the hazard substance, process the area with the means for the secondary containment with the diversion design pursuant with the New Jersey Administrative Code E26. Process wastewater with the cooling water pipe with the plan, drain similar insulation with the drain, suit with the storm drain with the public wastewater treatment plants, wastewater courses for the other routes for the drain, water of the state shall be engineered to leak hazard for the substance for the non-escape of the waters to the state. 71E26 facility drain secondary containment. All portions of the area of the major facility has substances routinely refined with the produce. Storage held with the hand process of the transfer shall be designed for any of the leak preventing with the becoming the discharge secondary containment the diversion. Structural preventing the leak has substance from the becoming the discharge include the dike berm, retaining walls, curbing the gutters, culverts, drainage systems, diversion ponds, lagoons, retention basins, holding tanks, some slump tanks, and other collecting systems, drip pans, and other equipment improved with the department. Secondary containment of diversion structure of the equipment shall meet with the following standard for the secondary containment of the diversion system must block all probable routes from which the leak hazard substance could be responsibly expected to become discharged. Capacity secondary containment of diversion system shall include additional capacity accommodated with the 6 inches of the rain and secondary contamination of the diversion structure located with the rainwater accumulate in it shall be the 4 storage area volume in the largest tank of the container with the area of the tanker car and tank truck loading unloading area the volume of the largest compartment in the area of the tank car tank truck utilizing the area of the buried pipe with the maximum volumetric flow rate with the multiplied with the maximum amount of the between the detection leak with the shutdown with the pipe for the process area volume of large equipment into the area with the maximum volumetric flow rate through the area with the multiplied with the maximum amount of the time between the detection leaking and shutdown of the system whichever the greater. All components of the secondary containment of the diversion system shall be made with a line with an impermeable material with which must be maintained in permeable condition. Existing systems shall be above ground tanks shall accept the requirements. Existing system can protect with the ground over the period of the time needed for the cleanup of the remove of the leak up of the entire volume with the largest tank of the utilizing system. The department may require evidence with the ability the secondary containment with the diversion system protect with the groundwater included but not limited to soils permeability testing measure for the department depth of the groundwater between the secondary containment of the diversion system and response times of the cleanup of the leak of the entire content of the largest tank of the utilizing system allows visual detection of the leaks and is inspected daily in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E210. No process area loaded to unloading area of the dike to storage area with the other storage area of the secondary containment of the diversion system improvement there too shall drain into the water course or into a ditch or sewer pipe with a storm drain that leads directly into the directly water course for the public sewage treatment plant unless provision is made. Retain the valve of the other process as a means of the accumulated precipitation until it is certain the satisfaction of the department over the hazard substance will be discharged to the environment. Intercept any leak hazard substance permitted with industrial wastewater and treatment and pre-treatment facility. Other facilities operated in accordance with the valid efficiency of the New Jersey DES and BDES permit. Diversion systems must be designed to handle reasonably expected flow rate from the leak into them. Incompatible materials shall not be stored with the same component air of their subsequent likelihood of mixing with the event of the leakage restriction does not apply with the process of the substance brought into proximity as part of the production process. Secondary containment system shall not be used for the backup storage system, not for any of the other personnel that would impair the capacity of the containing leak. Marine trans facility. Marine Transfer Facility. All rules and regulations U.S. Coast Guard which apply with the all oil transfer facility, but in particular with the Title 33 to CFR 154 and 156 have expressly adopted with the reference to the further the made applicable the marine transfer facilities will the transfer liquid statement that has a substance for the other than oil. If oil other than non-miscible lighter than water has a substance transferred to the facility shall be kept available at length of the flotation bottom of the containment device sufficient total to the enclosure of the vessel engaged with the transfer that has substance from the vessel to the facility, from vessel to the vessel, facility to vessel. When transferring hazardous substance for the vessel between vessel and contaminated devices should be capable of encircling both vessels. A contamination device should be deployed with the prior to commencing with the transfer of the non-miscible light or then water has with the top and flash point with 100 degrees Fahrenheit with as measured with the ASTM D93, incorporated with the herein and reference of the current with the wind conditions permanent with the effect of the device can be safely deployed without endangering any personnel vessel, obstruction any ship with the channel with the provision does not apply with the transfer of the head substance to be used as a fuel with or lubricant by the vessel. When conditions prohibit the immediate deployment of the contamination device, such as the device for the ship to be maintained with the standby with the base for the during the transfer of the rapid deployment event with the discharge transfer the hazardous substance from the vessel with the moored with the deck with the contaminated device encircling with the entire vessel except for the area of the dock of the vessel, subject to the duration of the dock is capable of acting with effective barrier with the contaminated device to cover the department into place for the transfer of the hazardous substance device shall be deployed with not less than 15 feet with a vial pressure vessel prior to commencement of the transfer operation, except in the case of the docks may act as part of the contaminant with the shall be maintained with the manner of the minimum of the potential of the discharge has substance leaving the contaminated area. Transfer operations shall not commence if the commencement shall be discontinued immediately upon the detection of the following national weather service the forecast periodic with the vicinity of the facility, gale forces over the wind, heavy precipitation, other storm condition, any person in charge of the termination of the transfer can be accomplished without increased area scope of the discharge, whether the condition can occur with the transfer operation have commenced. Fire occurs in the vicinity transfer operation from the nearby portion of the transfer facility unless the transfer is necessary to prevent the further endangerment of the personnel of the vessel of the facility. At any time of the transfer site with the functioning contrary with the standard operating procedure of the facility, a breakout occurred with the transfer system. There's apparent discrepancy between the quality of the hazardous substance transferred and received. The communication system is not operative. Hazardous substance observed with the water near any of the transfer components in life that has been associated with the hazardous substance not being discharged with the vessel of the marine transfer facility involved with the transfer operation. 8. A discharge occurred during the transfer is not resumed until the discharge has been reported with the Department and the Department of Federal Unseen with coordinating the National Oil Hazardous Substance Pollution Contingency Plan pursuant with the Title 40 CFR 30 to satisfy the adequate steps that have been taken for the discharge to prevent further discharge. Under certain circumstances, it may be necessary to continue with the transfer operation of the open, even when the discharge not to be occurred with example in order to offload with the contents of the vessel is leaking. Prior to the removal of deployed with the employment of the device with all the discharge hazards of the contained with the device should be properly cleaned up with the removed. Any contaminated device deployed with the retrieve of the properly secured by the owner and operated for the completion of the transfer at the time no longer need to prevent the spread of the divert the transfer of the contamination device contained and shall be properly cleaned and disposed of. Copy of the requirement of the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E53C with the printing of the continuous manner shall be displayed for the owner and operator with any transfer pages, transfer areas, and centers. Illumination. Major facilities with the transfer hazardous substance to and from the vessel between the hours of sunset and sunrise shall perform all such fittings. Transfers with a fixed lighting that should adequately illuminate each transfer connection point at each facility and each transfer connection point of the vessel. Hazardous substance transfer work area with the facility with the hazardous substance transfer work area with the vessel. Major facilities with the hazardous substance to and from the vessel for the hours of sunset within sunrise should perform all such. The transfers of fixed portable lighting shall be adequately illuminate surface area with the water surrounding vessels sufficient to determine the non-discharge occur with the adequate lighting shall be lighting comply with the U.S. Coast Guard rules, regulation applicable to oil transfer facilities, particularly with the Title 33 CFR 154-570. 71829 flood hazards. The hazardous substances for the store within the title flood plan delineated with the Federal Emergency Management Agency with the floodway with the water course delineated with the Department of New Jersey Administrative Code 71371 with the adequate protection to prevent any substance for the hazard for the being carried off with the being discharged from flood waters. Hazardous substance stored with any of the air known over the own operative of the major facility subject to the high probability of the flooding washout with the adequately protected to prevent discharged substance for the being carried off with the flood waters being discharged. Alright, 71210, 210. Visual inspection and monitoring all equipment at portion of the major facilities serve the hazardous substances, all of the cleanup of the removal of the equipment and supply of the shall be visually inspecting the corn with the standard operating procedures pursuing the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E214 with the visual inspection for the performed with the minimum according with the following schedule. Prior to each marine transfer, the adequacy of the deterioration, leak of the discharge, all transfer, lighting, and the above ground transfer valve, the pump, the flanges, flexible house lines, connection unless all not readily accessible to be used within the transfer at once a daily integrity leak of the secondary containment system of the diversion system of the above ground storage tank with which are not impermeable once a day prior to each of the use of whichever the less frequent integrity of the deterioration, leaking, loading, and unloading of the flexible hose lines 1 week with integrity of the leaks of the process area 1 month once a month the integrity of the leaks of all the other area of the secondary containment of the diversion system and all above ground pipes and once quarterly for integrity of the leaks of all the other above ground pumps and flange connection with equipment, for the integrity of all the security and fences and lines, for the adequacy of the location with all the cleanup of the removal of the equipment and supply for the record shall keep the visual inspection code of the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E215. These records shall be documented with the date and the purpose in performing the inspection of the problems found, with include the no problem verified with the subsequent correction of the touch of the problems. Housekeeping and maintenance 210 has for the substance shall be kept with the container that's suitable for the store of the processing all of the time, except for the transfer between the container with the containers compatible with the substance shall be the air and resin with the chemical acting by a substance of the hazardous substance shall be kept to protect the elements of the possible of the leakage, tank, pipes, valves, the glands, drums, other equipment leaking, have the substance shall be properly repaired, replaced, taken out of the following detection leak with unless the provision is made with the capture of the containment with the leak, as for the drip pan with the appropriate for the containment of the device, here's left for the provision of the leaking and shall be repaired and replaced with the tank out with 15 days after the leak with the detector, then shall be shut down with the process unit with the necessary shall leak of the repair with the early period with either process the determinant of the operation of the particular unit is out with whichever occurs first. Cleanup of all the leak and the discharge has something that shall be began with the property for the detection leak for the quantity for the head something that shall be prepared, not allowed to persist on the ground and floors of the water of the equipment and other places for the facility shall be kept in the hand with a convenient location with adequate quantities of the absorbent material of the chemical neutralizing agents, agent, and other material of the sufficient to contain the cleaning up of the leak as with the discharge of the facility personnel will respond to described in the discharge cleanup remedial plan in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 701E43B7. The facility shall maintain an adequate supply of protective equipment such as the chemical resistant coverall boots for the respiratory protection, convenient location for the use of the personnel with the requirement of the cleanup of the leak of the discharge has some of the protective of the safety of the equipment required with the regulation federal occupational safety health administration complying with the regulations shall be deemed fulfill this requirement. Secondary containment of diversion system shall be maintained in good repair free with the accumulated debris with the free with cracks through with the hazardous substance could be discharged. 71E212. Employee training. Owner and operative major facility shall implement appropriate program training with the employees shall be involved with the handling hazardous substance shall maintain written description of the program training. Program shall not include but at a minimum of the following with a written job description included with the duties of the responsible rating with the hazardous substance to each position training necessary to qualify for the position, specify the time period on housing for each position, covering orientation specifically hazardous substance training and on-job training, periodic refresher and training, periodic determine whether the employee with the demonstrate the ability to carry out the duty to responsibly specific position, training which employee with involved with the handling hazardous substance will receive and shall include general orientation initial training with the new employee for the FB and assignment with the hazardous substance operation shall include with the instruction general site rule of the practice of the safety practice procedures. Shall specifically training with the newly assigned to some employees involved with the hazardous substance consisting of the classroom on-job training as well as which for the cover the standard operating procedure with the detailed review hazardous substance material safety data sheet for the safe handling procedure for the hazardous substance handle with the hazards over the operation involved with the hazardous substance of the application with the standard operating procedure with the actual condition. Safety equipment procedure for the use of the cleanup or the removal of specific hazardous substance for the procedure regarding fires, leaks, and discharge equipment familiarization. Training update with the new standard operation procedure refreshing training is once a year with the be present overview updated the information combined with the such training required on any other federal state requirement. Training programs specify the qualification required for the person responsible for training employees with a hazardous substance documentation. All training, including final qualifying activities, shall be kept in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 701-215. Such employees shall be included in the vacation all personnel training subject covering training dates, owners, and operation procedures to ensure all the employees utilize outside contract to receive site specific information covering emergency safety procedures. Alright, security 213. Major facilities shall be adequately illuminated on personnel or premises for the detect with intruders. Leak of the discharge. Major facilities shall have sufficient with security sufficiency to provide unauthorized person by gaining in the access with the hazardous substance security may consist of examples Fence adequate to prevent unauthorized outing of all the portion of areas of which the hazardous substance are to be stored, processed, for the transfer to you within the entry of the gates locked with the guarded with the facility unattended with the either locked or guarded under observation by persons at all times. The above ground storage tanks show the following: valves which permit escape of the tank with the other containers, contents of the surface to be locked from the closed position, not in use. The starter controls all pumps locked in all position when the pumps are not in use. The controls are located with the outside accessible only with the authorized personnel, which site is intended and locked. Open-ended, all pipes securely capped in blank flange when not used for an extended time. Alright, 71E214 standard operating procedure. Owner and operator shall have a written standard operating position for operation involving hazardous substances. Shall be in English manner with the understandable above the employee of the major facility. Shall be written with the language frequency with the employee the utilizing standard operation not fluent English. Copy of the standard operating procedure shall be readily available to the employee with a copy of the material safety data sheet and fact sheets of each hazardous substance used with the store and facility shall be readily available to employees. Standard operating procedure shall be the minimum of the following with a description of operation include all of the applicable requirements of the subchapter procedure, visual inspection of equipment, procedure condition, normal operation, description of leak monitoring equipment and alarms, description of leak of the discharge condition would occur with the operation, include with the control mitigation procedure filed with the reduce the impact of leak of the discharge conditions. As appropriate with the operation, describe the following items in addition to these D above the showman include the standard operation procedures. Simply process flow sheets showing flows, temperatures, and pressure. The description for most frequently abnormal condition include with the control of the mitigation procedures followed with the return to the normal condition. Pre-startup procedures, startup procedures including conditions of the maintained during startup, shutdown procedure including provision, normal emergency shutdown, detail of the condition of the equipment to maintain after shutdown procedure to perform and inspect maintenance work, log sheets and checklists, and generic standard operating procedure written must be one equipment is designed to perform same function located facilities such generic standard operation must cover all hazardous substance utilized with equipment must be delineated in special conditions associated with specific equipment with the hazardous substance. Notification standard operating procedures shall be incorporated with the standard operating procedure prior to the implementation. Current index standard operating procedures entitled identification number, the latest date, and of the issues maintained with the veritably available. 71E215 record. Keep the owner and operator major facility. Maintain the record employee to drill for the discharge, prevention, inspection, cleanup, the removal of equipment of the facility, inventory for the period of 3 years. Owner and operator major facility. Maintain the following records for 10 years. Documentation, discharge pursuant to the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E53E. Continuing report of the discharge pursuant to the New Jersey Administrative Code 71E58C. Owner and operator major facility shall maintain records, inspection, repair for the 10 years lifetime of the equipment, device, and structure for the all equipment documentation, monitoring, prevention, safety device related with the discharge prevention response. All other structures other than above ground storage tanks. For above ground storage tanks, the owner and operator of the major facility shall maintain the record, integrity, testing, inspection, repair for the lifetime of the tank. All records should be available for the inspection required for the department and appropriate to the local agencies. Records should be maintained in microfilm, microfiche, shall be in accordance with electronic computerized form and adequately backed up. Integrity testing. Above ground storage test installed with you within July 22nd, 1990. Capacity greater than 2,000 gallons. Approved and piping with the first valve with the must have with the undergo. Integrity testing with the static headed gas. Head testing August 1st, 1993. Above storage ground capacity greater than 2,000 gallons installed with the placing within service the other July 22nd, 1990. All approved and piping the first valve shall be subject to integrity piping prior to placing the service in accordance with the following newly filled erected storage tank shall be tested in accordance with the standard used for their construction. Existing storage tank should be returned to service shall be in accordance with the applicable protocol D through I of the build storage tank shall be tested in installation to ensure the integrity of the tank connections to it and the test should the head test. Alright, record of all the integrity of the testing shall be in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 215. Field erected above ground storage tank shall be the storage capacity greater than 2,000 gallons shall undergo integrity test in accordance with the following. Tank operated atmospheric pressure show with the APS 650 schedules here of the test inspection established with the standard step with a similar surface risk. Base inspection schedule contained in the American Petroleum Institute 63 are not permitted. Tanks under pressure shall follow the American Petroleum Institute 510 ASME Section 8 and the schedule series and test inspection established applicable standards. Shop built sealed above ground tank storage tank with greater than 2,000 shall undergo an integrity test according to the API 653 SPO 001 schedule for the security of the tank with established with the applicable code except for the similar with the risk and in-space inspection scheduled to contain the API 653 is not permitted. Flex fiberglass reinforced plastic above ground storage tank storage capacity greater than 2,000 gallons shall undergo integrity testing every 5 years, consisting of acoustic emission testing according to the ASTM E1067. Combination internal and external inspection taking improvement in the structure of the experienced qualified inspector. Homogeneous plastic tank storage capacity greater than 2,000 gallons shall undergo integrity testing every 5 years, consisting of the internal and visual inspection of the tank and the improvement structure of the experienced qualified inspector. For above ground storage tanks greater than 2,000 gallons that do not fall into one of the categories outlined with the alternative to integrity testing protocol established by the owner and operator may perform integrity tests every 5 years according to the following as appropriate. The shell thickness for the bottom thickness for the form of the standards both the ASME section 5 capable of detecting corrosion, erosion, and other wall bottom thinning less than the predetermined maximum minimum thickness for the FA. Ensures sufficient structural strength of the visual inspection exterior of the tank, the checking for the cracks and leak of the visual inspection foundation, the ancillary equipment of the inlet and outlet pipe valves, checking for the settlement of the cracks and leak of the corrosion and other indication of the structural problems. If none of the protocol integrity testing outlined with the section are practicable, given the above ground storage tank with the storage capacity greater than 2,000 for the owner of the operator proposed for the protocol for the department in accordance with the New Jersey Administrative Code 701 E111E. If the tank is tested in respect to the required by A through I with above the following fails to meet with the applicable standard with structural integrity condition with determined if they exist with no standard set forth in A through I above but with the opinion of the person performing the test and inspection set forth the report constitute with the condition that will threaten the structural integrity. Tanks shall be emptied and remain empty until the repaired and replaced conditions threatening structural integrity may be included but are not limited to wall thinning, leaks, external corrosion, pitting, and cracking. Section 3. Transmission pipelines.